Good morning, dear hearts. We're on lesson 183. New lessons, please subscribe. I call upon God's name and on my own. There is one name. We are continuing our awareness that there is in truth only one. We have had one mind, one love, one truth, one thought, and now we have one name because there is nothing else. In that one is all contained, and that's what we have to realize. As we name things, as the ego mind has believed it has separated from the oneness, it has taken things and named them. This is why, we can go back to our very, very beginning lessons, and that nothing that I see means anything, and that I've given everything all the meaning it has for me, because I'm the one who has claimed it, named it, and separated it from the wholeness and the allness of our Father. So this lesson also has a repetitive phrase, which we haven't had for a bit now. And the repetitive phrase here is repeat God's name. And it says repeat God's name, and all the world responds by laying down illusions. Repeat God's name, and little names have lost their meaning. Repeat God's name and call upon yourself, your big self, your true self, whose name is His. Repeat God's name and you acknowledge Him as sole creator of reality. And so this is what we do when all we do today is repeat God's name. And this lesson is also taking us into that space of what the introduction told us about going into wordlessness. Our use for words is almost over. We don't need words as we once did. In fact, words have gotten us into this idea of separation. Again, by naming something, and in my naming it, I've taken it away from the wholeness and the allness of God and given it a separate identity with a teeny tiny I. But today, I want to reverse all of that and only call upon God's name and know that God's name is the same as mine. It must be, because ideas do not leave their source. So my name and God's must be one. I call upon God's name and on my own. The lesson begins, the first paragraph is, God's name is holy, but no holier than yours. To call upon His name is but to call upon your own. A father gives his son his name and thus identifies his son with him. And that is something that we recognize from this world, this separated world, this illusion. We realize that the name that we have identifies us and links us to our parentage. So here, the name that we have links us to our celestial parent, our source, our creator, and it is God. His brothers share His name, and thus they are united in a bond to which they turn for their identity. Your Father's name reminds you of who you are, even within a world that does not know, even though you have not remembered it. So not only as I call upon God's name and realize that God's name is my name, one name, I am also joining with all of my brothers and sisters and realizing that their name is the same as mine. We are all one mind, one sonship, one. That is the operative number. As I have said many times throughout the course, it is the number one. It is whole, it is complete, it encompasses everything. One name, one thought, one love, one mind. We are one with Him who is our source. So today, we try to achieve this state of oneness and silence. Remember, yesterday's lesson was about stillness, okay? That we go into that space of stillness so we can remember and go home. So we go into stillness to go home. We go into stillness to remember and realize that there is only this one name. It says, turn to the name of God for your release, and it is given you. No prayer but this is necessary. The name of God is a complete prayer, for it holds them all within it. Words are insignificant and all requests unneeded when God's Son calls on his Father's name. His Father's thoughts become his own. He makes his claim to all his Father gave and is giving still and will forever give. He calls on him to let all things he thought he made, all of the things we thought we made, all of those things we took out of the allness and separated and gave names and little identities to, that he thought he made. He let all things he thought he made be nameless now. Let them all release that insignificant small name that took them out of the wholeness, and let them release that and now come back to their place in the holy name of God becomes, and in their place, the holy name of God becomes his judgment of their worthlessness. The things that we separate from God have no worth, they have no value. So we release them so they can rejoin the wholeness and the allness and the oneness of our Father. That is where we are meant to be. And then the lesson says, all little things are silent, little sounds are soundless now, and little things on earth have disappeared. The universe consists of nothing but the Son of God, who calls upon his Father's, and his Father's voice gives answer. We call upon our Father, and he will answer, and in his Father's holy name, in this eternal still, and be still a moment and go home, in this still relationship in which communication far transcends all words and yet exceeds in depth and height whatever words could possibly convey, is peace eternal. This is where we find our peace, in the wordlessness, the stillness, the allness, the creative force that is our Father. In our Father's name, we would experience this peace today, and in his name, it shall be given us. Again, we have a guarantee, not one that we can find in this world, in the ego world, in the world of separation, but in the world, the truth, heaven, our Father's realm. We have a guarantee for peace and love and joy. We have the guarantee to know the truth of who we are, and we have the guarantee that as we receive it, we indeed will want to do nothing but to extend and share it with all of our brothers, the entire sonship. So there is only one, and we accept that today in great gratitude and happiness. And that's it for today. I hope it helped. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment, please pray. Pray for wholeness and healing for all of our minds, that we may all know the truth of who we are and not think it blasphemous to call ourselves as God's child. Namaste.